am honored to speak to Megan Norton today, author of Belonging Beyond Borders, a brand new book. And we're just going to ask a few questions. Oh, you got a print copy.
Yes.
And give us some insights onto to what, how, when, why. So thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, and I love the work you do and also the story you have. And I think you might resonate with some of the threads of themes of cross-cultural mobility, of belonging, identity, grief. That's all sprinkled in there.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. But I would be curious. Just start at the very beginning. Tell us about yourself in 60 seconds or less.
oh my goodness, 60
Who is
seconds.
Megan?
Yeah, 60 seconds, the highlight reel. Um, that this question also kind of can give a third culture kid or adult third culture kid an existential crisis of, okay, what do I highlight about my identity, or who am I, and where am I from? But personally, I am a adult third culture kid. By the time I was 18, I had lived in 6 countries, and one of which was my passport country, the US. And as an adult third culture kid, I've continued my global trek, living in 4 more countries and also 5 US states. So I do want to highlight that global mobility and mobility in general has been part of my story, and shaped also my professional journey in working in different sectors, including government, military, missionary Christian faith-based organizations, international education, developing workshops, trainings, curriculum for third culture kids, because I want to see third culture kids thrive wherever they are in the world.
Thank you. I think you did it in 6 years, just a
Yes.
little more. Which brings me to my next question, which you basically touched on a little bit already, but what inspired you to write this book and now, right? So you've talked a little bit about what you've done. What sort of was the spark that set you off on the authoring journey?
Yes. Well, Anna, as you know, as an independent consultant working with uh, third culture kid populations, um, I kept seeing this trend, or the thread of commonality, that belonging is a concept. It's a theme that a lot of high mobility individuals grapple with. There's a lot of literature and resources about identity and grief, also two factors that are part of the third culture kid experience. But I really wanted to dive into what belonging means. And when TCKs or adult TCKs say, yes, I feel rootless or restless, then okay, let's look at that. Let's explore that. And that's been part of my own journey as an adult TCK. And I would say my current location, Michigan, being a historical route, a bit of a tap route for me in my family life, really gave me this sense of, okay, how do I belong here? And how do I claim being from here? Who also claims me being from here? And so
Mm.
I think this season of life kind of lent itself for a lot of stillness and reflection, and created this product from that.
It's lovely, and you said it already. The book is actually geared towards adult TCKs. When I read it, I found a lot of things that spoke directly to me as an adult TCK, but also as a parent of TCKs. Uh, Lots of things I thought, oh yeah, I need to highlight that, or I need to pay attention. Or as my children mature, I've got one teen that I've, looking at 3 more years and she'll be out of the house. This will be an incredibly useful resource for her then too. So as a mom, I thank you for writing this book too.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank
Um,
you for that
I
feedback.
would like to know who are your sort of supporters, and who sort of just from a like an authoring point of view, who helped you make this a reality?
Yeah, it's a great question and a very important one because the book about belonging, of course, I dive into community and
Mhm.
relationships and different people who have influenced and shaped your life, and my life, and so I would say that it would be my community, from my professional world, but also my personal world. In the book, I have a series of exercises, as you know, and I have filled out some of the exercises from my point of view, and to honor the people who have shaped some of, my sense of belonging. I've put the first letter of their first name in some of the exercises, and it gives me great joy when I now when I see them, I'll write a personal note and I'll say, "Look at page 62. I was thinking of you when I was thinking about the concept of belonging." As any other book, there's a acknowledgments section, and I would like to highlight Ruth Van Reken. She's been my spiritual director, my friend, my mentor, and it gives me great joy. And I feel so honored that she wrote the foreword of the book because she certainly has helped me process a lot of my own story of belonging.
That's wonderful. It comes out. I mean, the book is, you very much share your own story, and you fill out the examples with your like personal experience, which makes it very, very relatable. I love that about it too, definitely.
Thank you.
You use a metaphor throughout the book that um is, I delighted in it because it was new to me. I get a little tired of the same metaphors over and over again. So I really enjoyed this one, and every chapter I was like curious, how's she gonna do this? Where is it gonna go this time? So use the garden metaphor and the gardener and the flowers and the plants, and from the root system to the seeds to the growing cycles, all of that's in there. Where did that come from?
Yes. Well, again, I'd like to highlight that being in Michigan, being a historical root for me, my dad's side of the family is from here, and he grew up in this state. And there's a wonderful set of trees. Actually, I'm looking at them right outside my window now. They're pine trees. They're over 40 feet tall, almost, I would say, almost a century old. Um, and I began really engaging with nature when I was here in Michigan. There's so many points of connection to nature. There's the Lake Michigan here. I love to go to the beach, hear the sound of the waves and everything. And then these trees have been such a steadfast marker of where do I belong in the world. I've seen these trees every time I would come back to the US for a visit to my grandparents. And more than that, across the street from me, my grandmother tended a award-winning garden,
Right.
right across the street. And so I thought, could it look like maybe for me to plant a garden, or what's the soil, what's the environment that's conducive. All of this very tactile, very practical questioning made me then dive into this connection of, oh my goodness, belonging to place, belonging to people takes time. It's like
Mhm.
cultivating a garden. You have to do the research of how to nurture, what's sustainable. You have to have patience to see the belonging grow. And so kept uh, just over and over again, like you said, in every chapter, taking it from a new angle.
Mhm.
What does belonging and cultivating, pruning, nurturing look like? And one of my favorite quotes is, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you see the fruit." And similar to belonging, friendship, community building, relationship maintenance. The day that you meet someone is not necessarily the day that it blooms into this long-lasting friendship.
Mm.
So give it time. So yes,
Yeah, it's
over and
absolutely
over.
beautiful. And it just, when I see your hair metaphor, I'm curious, like how far can I take it, right?
Yes.
And this one really works for a lot of aspects to it. Also, what I have just from my personal experience is that there are seasons too. Like there might be
Yes.
seasons of belonging and friendships that end, and that's okay too, right?
Mhm.
And just we let that go. We appreciate what we had, and then we move on. Just like the plants in our garden might bloom and then pass and not actually come back again. We've got some that just don't do that. So
Yes. I love
really
what
love
you're
that.
saying. How far
Yeah.
can you take it?
Yeah. And it's okay, and we don't have to force that either too. And I think that's something that we um media and movies often imply that we have a best friend, that we should have a best friend, we should have that best friend forever, we should get old with that person, and nah.
Mhm.
It's not reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I digress though. Give me one reason why someone should read this book.
Oh, one reason.
We're condensing here. One reason why we should
Yes.
read the book.
I think there is something in the book for everyone. Belonging is a universal concept. And so I wanted to strike that balance of how do you talk about belonging as a universal human need, um, and then also through the lens and the experience of a third culture kid. And so really, again, like you said, the garden metaphor. How do you nurture relationships? And so I would say the one reason is take a look at what resonates for you as a human being in your exploration of belonging.
Thanks. Now, for people that aren't as familiar with the concept of TCKs as we might be, um, why is belonging such a thing for TCKs? What is it about that? Just give us a quick like recap of what that means.
Yeah. One of the characteristics or factors of being a third culture kid is a high mobility piece, and also a high cross cultural experience piece in your developmental years. So third culture kids, can be dependents of government, of corporate, of international educators, and the characteristic that unifies them, and that is that they have crossed cultures many times, either in countries or education systems or local communities. And so one, if you think of that concept of that common characteristic, one of the experiences can be high mobility of your community, of friends, of neighbors who are either leaving or you're leaving, and that creates some frayed attachments. It's sometimes a challenge to maintain relationships across distance for third culture kids. And then, because of that, it's hard to be known, um, and to tell your story. So, in the book Belonging Beyond Borders, I do have the third culture kid piece because I want to acknowledge and affirm that yes, this is a challenge that you've had, perhaps with all the high mobility things of frayed attachments. And so, how do you resolve that or process that as an adult TCK?
Thanks. I think what you said just now is also true. There are a lot of the things that we do talk about for TCKs and cross-cultural kids actually apply to all humans. We just haven't framed it that way.
Yeah.
Um, Someone that grew up in Oregon and moves to Boston to go to college is going to experience a culture shock, is going to experience the loss of belonging, is might question their identity as well. So there's actually the book, if applies to a lot more experiences than just the third culture experience, I think. But I think it's important that we speak to that, and that we highlight that the TCKs do have a very specific experience as well.
Mm. Mhm, mhm.
What is something that you would love for people to take away from the book? Like where you say, I really hope that this young adult TCK, this college bound student or 20 something that reads this, this would be the ideal thing for them to get out of my book.
Mhm. Um, I hope it comes out that there's so much to celebrate about your story, your cross-cultural kid experience. There's there's so much hope in and and gratitude and love for your story. I think when someone has had several cross-cultural experiences in their childhood, in adulthood, they have this skill set, this um, even this outlook or worldview of how can I bridge communities? How can I bond communities? I think that's an incredible gift for this world that seems sometimes very divisive, and I want TCKs, and I hope what they take away from the book is that they have this wonderful skill set, to be a bridge builder in this world.
Goosebumps. I hope and wish that for you too. Do you also have a big bold dream for your book and where it should go, or what you want to do with it now or next steps?
Yeah, again, I mentioned earlier, I think there's something in it for for anyone who picks up the book. My big bold dream is as the world becomes more interconnected, I think um, also globalized, right? And there's so much mobility. Um, Not just with third culture kids, but there's migration and immigration and cross border experiences. The cross cultural kid experience is becoming the norm. And so I think the book is a resource for if you've had that experience or if you're working with people who have had that experience. If you are an adult TCK who hasn't taken time to explore the story that you've lived, um, there are several self-reflection exercises, and I did that intentionally because I don't want the book to be prescriptive. I want the reader to co-author and to really personalize their story of belonging. Again, that hope and gratitude for the experiences. Um, Big bold dream to um, have people pick it up and let it be a resource for them in whatever capacity they would like to use it in.
Wonderful. We'll set that dream off and make it happen.
Yes, exactly. It's
My feedback to me, I mean, I've said this already, but I really like the reflection exercises, but I also like the scripts. Like, if you are a person that hasn't grown up in the culture that you're currently living in, it's really helpful to just have actual words to say,
mm,
not just, present yourself as this, but you can walk into the room and talk to people about this, and this, and you'll be safe. And so I actually like that part because it's like a script that I can practice, like I'm going on stage. And that can help me become more comfortable to enter into conversation with people. So that's one aspect of the book that I actually even now still appreciate, because I'm something like that. I think, what can I ask these people to break the ice, to get into them? And that's exactly what you've delivered there too. So I like
thank
that.
you, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
and that certainly was with my adult experience of networking rooms and things, and
Mhm.
how do I connect with people? How do I honor my story, but also honor my intention to connect? And that's, some of those uh, probes or prompts of maybe, talk about this, talk about that,
Yeah.
leave that out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Absolutely. I do love that.
thank you.
Megan, where can we buy the book? Where can we find you? How do we contact you? I'll put this all in the notes as well, but just if you can just tell us all that now too.
Yes. So, Belonging Beyond Borders: How Adult Third Culture Kids Can Cultivate a Sense of Belonging. It's currently available on Amazon
Mhm.
in paperback and also Kindle version. Um, where you can find more of my writing or connect with me is on my website, adultthirdculturekid.com. And I'm also on Instagram at adult underscore third underscore thirdculturekid.com, all underscored.
Mhm.
So definitely, yeah, love to hear people's stories of belonging and how they're engaging with the exercises.
Okay. Thank you very much. I hope that we reach people and the book just goes off and does its job in the world. Thanks,
Thanks,
Megan.
Anna. Thank you.